I was actually thinking of this matchup several days back. It requires an in-depth examination of all the different powers, techniques and hacks abilities. At first glance I'd be inclined to say the Almighty takes it. But reality warping isn't new in Dragon Ball. Shenlong can bring back planets that were destroyed, but is weaker than someone like Piccolo. Saiyans can read minds and use telekinesis very easily. They have power that can destroy worlds with a single attack that wouldn't even exhaust them. And as far as destructive capability, they should be beyond Yhwach's raw attack power. Though his power when he absorbed all the Sternritter, Ichigo, the Soul King linchpin and Mimihagi had him able to destroy the living world, Soul Society and Huko Mundo along with the Garganta and Dangai if memory serves correctly. Now the question is, does the living world only include the Earth? Or the entire physical realm, the whole universe? If the latter, then his power is relative to at least the upper tier like Hakuishin, Goku, Vegeta and so on. If the former, then he still has the ability to put up a fight, but I don't think his Almighty would have the same power over the strongest DB fighters that it does over the Shinigami and other Bleach characters. His Almighty is not flawless, otherwise Yuru couldn't have hit him with the still silver arrow. He would have prevented Tsukishima and Oroheim from fixing Tensei Zangetsu, and he wouldn't have been caught with Kyoka Sugetsu. So even Soul King enhanced Yhwach isn't unbeatable. There are so many other possible variables, but I don't feel like making more effort to come up with cross-series comparisons at the moment. On the other hand, DB characters said to have Hacks immunity, and it explain all over this manga page where Whis explaining that Hacks doesn't work if your power level is higher than your opponent. So Yhwach Haxes won't be working okay Goku and Vegeta, and it is proved several times during the tournament in DBS and during the fight between Buhan and Vegito. Buhan have many Haxes. One of them is he can turn you into a candy. It doesn't matter how strong you are. But since the gap between Vegito and Buhan was massive, Vegito being turned into a candy was still able to go on, but even on a more dangerous scale than before. So now I believe you understand who you are dealing with in Dragon Ball. No characters in Bleach has shown the ability to destroy a planet other than statements. According to Yhwach, he was going to destroy the three worlds and recreate them. World equals planet. World can mean many things. This has also been discussion in Yu Yu Hakusho as well, where Senshui stated he can destroy the entire world. But he isn't planet level now, is he? Acnologia from Fairy Tail can destroy the world. Is he planet level? No. So in comparison with DBI, think he can beat Vegeta's dad from Saiyan Saga, but he won't be able to beat Namek Saga characters who have at least above 20,000 power level because they have Hacks immunity. So if Yhwach versus DB, it will be depending on how strong is their physical strength, and DC and AP, and OFC the power level will decide that. I will give Yhwach a power level of 5,000. Continental level. Besides Dragon Ball, Yhwach is damn powerful. Now what if Yhwach versus Saitama? It goes the pretty same way as DB. Just imagine. Long ago people used to actually debate Bleach characters versus OPMs. And while the discussions were insane to begin with, I kind of feel bad for how all the OPM cross-verse battles are gonna disappear with a Hacks copying Saitama, who improves the other guy's Hacks after seeing it. unfinished just once by the way, and can time travel. Who I previously thought was only hacks. Immunity. Now that Saitama received Garu's powers and constantly grows stronger while fighting, I'd argue he wins pretty casually. His power and destructive capabilities far exceed theirs. Saitama is hacksy as hell now, as he can even rewind time and attack his opponents from the past. Yhwach's almighty ain't doing anything to him. He ain't finding a future where he hurts Saitama with Saitama's haxes, speed, and power. The main tricky part about Yhwach is he can rewrite his death. But if Saitama corners him badly to the point where he doesn't see a future, where he wins and takes the battle to space where Yhwach gets deprived of spirit particles, can't fight, then he can be countered. Respect the naked baldy. Saitama vs Gojo. Yes. Saitama wins with no effort, and I'm not joking, but Gojo has infinity, so Saitama has no way of touching him. Okay, firstly, what is infinity? Infinity is a technique that allows Gojo to create an infinite amount of space around him, making it physically impossible to touch him, unless a character has infinite speed or higher. Saitama doesn't have infinite speed. True. But Saitama has the ability to ignore distance. Allow me to explain. Absolutely unavoidable. Saitama's punch doesn't exist until it physically comes in contact with the target, meaning that Saitama ignores the infinite space and distance. And once that punch lands on Gojo's face, he ceases to exist along with the planet. So next is, yes, and far more easily than people think. I don't blame people for not understanding Gojo's infinity because it's not properly explained, but Gojo does not create an infinite distance between himself and his target. What he does is perpetually divide the finite space between himself and his opponent, meaning that instead of having to convert one unit of distance, they have to cover an ever increasing amount of finite distances between them to reach him. But the mechanics mean that one doesn't need infinite speed to cover the distance like some people like to say. It just means you need to cover the distance faster than Gojo can divide it. Saitama could easily do because he is significantly faster than anything in the JJK verse. Flashy Flash is confirmed to be faster than light, which is consistent with S-rank heroes having bare minimum relativistic speed feats, like Geno's dodging lasers. And Flashy Flash was eventually surpassed and outsped by Awakened and later Monster Garu, two forms shown to still be significantly weaker and slower than a not serious Saitama. The fastest JJK can be scaled to is Kashimo's cursed energy, which possesses the properties of electricity. However, even if you make it as fast as actual lightning and say that infinity could stop something moving this fast, lightning at its fastest is only 1/3000th the speed of light. Meaning even at this highball, Saitama is well over 3000 times faster than the speed. Infinity's activation can be scaled too. But also let's have a little side fun with this answer. Another more palatable way for Saitama to bypass infinity is the fact that he could simply remove it. In OPM they are these things called hyperspace gates. This appears in space-time. S-rank 1 Hero Blast can create a power cosmic Garu eventually manages to copy. Saitama has repeatedly shown the ability to physically interact with and move these as if they were solid objects. Now, to be clear, this is an interaction feat, not some proof that Saitama is more powerful than all of time and space. Saitama doesn't need that insane level of power to be able to do what he does. This isn't Dragon Ball Z where you can just overpower being frozen in time by flexing. After all, being able to punch a ghost doesn't mean you can beat Danny Phantom, but it does mean that Saitama has the ability to mess with and even touch altered spaces, meaning that if in character Gojo explains how his power works, Saitama could probably just pull infinity off of Gojo and kill him in a single attack. It would be that easy. As for Gojo's domain explanation and Hollow Purple, these would be useless for a few reasons. Spoilers for JJK, so skip this part if you don't wanna be spoiled. Spoilers. Border Gojo himself has admitted nothing can destroy Sakana's fingers, which, given how proud and boastful of a character Gojo is, it's not as if he wouldn't have at least tried to do so. Meaning Hollow Purple must have an upper limit to its destructive power, which Saitama as a bare minimum planet buster would scale above a minimum of trillions of millions of times over, even if you say Hollow Purple could erase a mountain. 2 domain expansions with techniques that target living creatures like his unlimited void will not affect people who do not possess cursed energy themselves. Meaning Saitama couldn't be caught in his domain unless he wanted to be, and even inside the domain he would be unaffected because Gojo's technique would not recognize him as a living target. Spoilers. Border. Someone might bring up Saitama's time travel, but this would not work for a few reasons. One is that Saitama cannot do this on his own. He needed Garou to show him how. Yes, Garou said he could acquire this power without needing to take it from God, but Saitama still needed to be shown how to do it, which leads into the second problem, which is how this power works. When Saitama alters the past using this method, the future he comes from is erased by the reversal of causality. Meaning that more than likely, since he was surprised at the turn of events, Saitama does not remember the future he altered and therefore doesn't remember how to do this technique. Now I will be talking about if Gojo can beat Goku from Dragon Ball. So let's get started. He doesn't have a chance in Super, but many chances in Z. Dragon Ball Super characters have abilities that are Gojo's complete counters. First of all, let's see Gojo's strongest attack. The Hollow Purple. This attack functions as an existence erasure. It introduces an imaginary mass, kind of like antimatter, that destroys any matter it comes into contact with. Amazing, right? Well, in Dragon Ball Super there is something exactly like this, and the other funny part, it's purple. You know it as the energy of destruction used by all gods of destruction. It also functions as existence erasure. Well, dangerous, right? Base Goku was able to survive one small one used by Sidra, an actual god of destruction. Frieza was able to compress it in his golden form. Vegeta punched through this. Not only that, but these are universal level plus attacks combined with existence erasure. So the attack potency is also really high. In Dragon Ball, Power and GT, hacks has always been the rule. Power can overcome any hacks. So Gojo is very impressive in that he was able to create something only the hacker can use. However, it cannot work on anyone in Super nor possesses the power to even beat them, since they can just tank it. He can destroy anyone in Z with this if his attack potency is higher than them. This is actually the problem with Dragon Ball characters. No matter what hacks may be there, it will only work if the characters are only a teeny bit weaker than the power of the hollow purple, otherwise it should be as powerful or more to be able to affect them. Now I don't know the app of his hollow purple, but DC-wise I'll wank it to city level. That isn't enough for any of the Dragon Ball characters even in Z, since we know they can tank existence erasure just through sheer power. So if the opponent is planetary, it can't work on him. Next, his infinite void. He bombards you with infinite information, slowly killing you because of the sensory overload. I also forgot it paralyzes you as well. The thing is that this information actually can't do anything to them. They sense across universal distances, and they are able to sense across the divine realm or the other world while they are in the living world. Imagine how much information that is. God Ki then gives the user sensing even greater than this. So, Goku and the other destroyers plus the other Z fighters except Frieza, who should also take this due to his mind training, can easily withstand this without any effort. Goku can even teleport to other world. They also can meditate and block most information coming to them while focusing on what they want to, which means they can block all the information present to them and focus on Gojo. They can also just break through it with their power. If not breaking through all of it, they can still break a hole through it. Goku Black was able to cut through reality. Boo in Z was able to, through shouting, create an opening in reality. I also forgot Goku Ultra Instinct basically makes him block all information entering his senses, and he is only focused on his opponent. So his domain expansion is useless against them. Next is his limitless. But that's the whole problem. They don't need to physically attack Gojo to hit him. They can just lock on his energy and manipulate his body from there. So as soon as they lock onto Gojo's energy, it is game over for him. This is why the Hakai is the most dangerous technique. They just need to point their hand at him regardless of any infinity between them, and Gojo will be erased from existence. Beerus was able to erase a ghost whose energy shouldn't be even sensed, nor any attack should work as it should go through him. Frieza was able to use a technique in Z, which is able to trap you in a prison. Belmod has a similar technique. They are multi-planetary in Z during and after Namek Saga. So any attack used by them in this way should destroy Gojo. Vegeta does the same to Qui. This is back in Z, he just instantly blows him up, and both of them are planetary. So while they cannot physically touch Gojo, they can just point at him and he will explode into pieces. These techniques don't cover physical distance, so infinity does not work. So they can counter limitless, hollow, purple, and unlimited void. Blue and red also aren't doing anything to them. So while Gojo is pretty strong, most characters in Super and even Z can beat him.